Hi, it's Dwyer. DwyerBoxingNews.com, GamblersAdvisory.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. A few words on Deontay Wilder versus Audley Harrison. Now, here in the United States, we've really had our egos crushed in the heavyweight division now for several years. We used to take for granted that the heavyweight champion was going to be someone of American descent. Sure, every now and then you had an Ingemar Johannesson pop up and take the title, but that usually was short-lived. You really haven't had an extended period of time like the last few years where the United States doesn't have a credible heavyweight champion. And when our guys go up for the belt, Chris Arreola against Vitaly Klitschko, they've been crushed, right? Beaten up. In the Arreola fight, his corner threw in the towel. Think about that. Talk about a hit to national pride. So, we're all waiting for the next great American heavyweight, right? HBO a few months ago wanted us to believe that heavyweight might be Seth Mitchell. That was after, of course, pubbing Chris Arreola and having Arreola lose to Tomas Ademic and Vitaly Klitschko. By the way, for those keeping track, that Vitaly Klitschko-Arreola fight was so bad that Vitaly Klitschko traveled to the United States to fight Arreola in his own backyard in Southern California. And of course, the result was a beatdown that ended up with the towel being thrown in the ring. So, we're all wishful when a fighter like Deontay Wilder comes along. Keep in mind, Wilder was the only American fighter in a recent Olympics to win a medal, right? And his medal wasn't gold, it was bronze. That's why he calls himself the Bronze Bomber. We see the punching power here. Many people are excited. Here's the problem. People online know that I was a skeptic of Seth Mitchell before his loss. Let's look at American heavyweight boxing for a moment and let's be candid, right? Because understand, what we're trying to do here online is different than what the mainstream media is trying to do. The mainstream media is trying to get viewership, right? Continue to have access, right? Many of the executives, in my opinion, who are in sports, in the mainstream media, have little clue about the sport of boxing, right? The boxing hardcore, we're on the side in venues like YouTube, talking about what's really going on. We look at a Seth Mitchell and we say, wow, he has to wind up to throw punches. His punches have a little bit of a loop. He's not the best starter I've seen. He seems to get hit. How could this guy be the next great American heavyweight? Well, let's ask the questions about Deontay Wilder. First, inside, I have my doubts. Quite frankly, I believe that Bryant Jennings, an unbeaten American heavyweight, has a much better inside game than Deontay Wilder. Just look at Jennings hold his own inside against Sergei Likovich, right? Let's just talk about quality of opposition. You know you're in trouble when Audley Harrison, recently beaten by David Haye and David Price, is the biggest name on your resume, right? That's not reassuring. That doesn't tell me that you fought big names in your career. This is a big step up for Deontay Wilder. That tells you all you need to know about his level of opposition. right? Let's talk fighting ability. Now here, I'm going to break with a guy who I've studied and who I have admired a great deal over the years. The great Emanuel Stewart, the late great Emanuel Stewart, had a belief that a great way to defend yourself was to take a step back. The idea was, if I'm fighting you and you're throwing and I take a step back, I still have my hand cocked. I can come back with a vicious counter. I'm ready. I've taken a step back. Your punches missed me. I'm ready for the quick counter. What I found, though, in watching films, and I'm going to disagree with the mentor. What I found is that the guys who rely on their feet primarily for defense never develop on an expert level the type of boxing skills that come with blocking shots with your arms, right? This is just philosophical. I love Emanuel Stewart, but at the end of the day, if I'm at the casino about to bet on a fight, it's my money. Whatever bias I have, that's the bias I'm going to go with, right? In my opinion, a guy like Floyd Mayweather, who was a great athlete when he was a little bit younger, he had great legs. I think he slowed down a little bit. But the key with Floyd Mayweather is when you get close to him, when you get him up on the ropes, he doesn't have to run away to defend himself. He can actually stay there and block punches, right? I have a strong bias. It's toward the Mayweathers and the James Toneys of the sport. I want to support a guy who I know doesn't have to run around the ring and tire himself out in order to actually stay in the pocket and deliver punches. If you have a counter puncher who's so savvy that he can block your shots and then come back with the same hand like James Toney can, right? Where he blocks your shots and then there are always openings for him because he has developed a style where he can stay there and counter you as opposed to run. Then in my opinion, you have something special. I don't see that with Deontay Wilder. I see a young guy with a great right hand. It's long. It's great. It's one of the very best in the entire sport. He can throw a right hand from halfway across the ring and knock you out. He has great ring coverage on the right hand. It's dazzling. The problem's the lack of a game around it, right? I just don't see Deontay Wilder up close, blocking punches, slipping punches, making you miss while staying inside, right? He relies a bit too much on his height and his legs for me. In my opinion, he's not a Tyson Fury, right? Tyson Fury, and I know Fury has problems, let's face it. Could Fury's hands have been lower when he got dropped by Steve Cunningham in their last fight? I know Fury gets caught up a bit too much in the moment. I'm guessing Fury himself is looking at his tapes and is asking himself, what was I thinking when that happened? But if you watch Tyson Fury, as tall as he is, and he's a tall man, when the bullets are flying, Tyson Fury is blocking shots. He's catching punches on his forearm. He can actually defend himself without running away. I like that. With Deontay Wilder, I see a guy who always has to move back, who's just trying to set up a right hand. That doesn't leave me believing that I'm watching James Toney. Quite frankly, that doesn't lead me to believe I'm watching Bryant Jennings, who to me has more boxing skills. than Deontay Wilder, and certainly has fought the better competition than Deontay Wilder. Sergio Lakovic used to be heavyweight champion, right? So, I know Wilder in some books is something like a 7-1 favorite in this fight. I know he's much younger than Audley Harrison. I know that Harrison is the one who's been devastatingly knocked out recently, the David Price fight, right? Not Deontay Wilder, who is unbeaten. Still, I think the storm clouds are out. I don't know who wins this fight. I'm going to be on the sidelines watching this fight from a safe distance. Yes, age is on Deontay Wilder's side. Here's the problem. Say what you want about Audley Harrison. Yes, Harrison is too low volume. Yes, Harrison lacks the foot speed to keep up with Deontay Wilder. He certainly won't be able to follow Wilder around the ring. Here's what I don't like. These two guys have sparred. They're conflicting stories about what happened in sparring. We're even hearing that Harrison knocked down Wilder in sparring. As I look at these two, for all of Harrison's problems, Harrison's the more advanced fighter, right? Harrison is a technician. Harrison can actually handle himself in the ring, right? He just does it with volume that's too low to win the slow rounds. Also, both of these guys are big men. Harrison lands a pretty big punch, right? Look at the Michael Sprott finish, right? And understand Sprott's a guy with a pretty good chin, right? Suffered knockouts early in his career, really hasn't been stopped recently apart from that Audley Harrison fight. So to me, the jury's out on Deontay Wilder. I think he's an athlete who, quite frankly, isn't that advanced in the ring. He throws a left hook, a lead left hook, kind of like Vladimir Klitschko. He throws a great overhand right. If he hits you with it, he can knock out anyone in the heavyweight division. He has a huge puncher's chance in any fight he's in. The problem I have is what he's doing in between the big punches, right? I just don't see him, slipping punches, rolling with punches. He's so big and he has great feet. His leg speed is so great that he's able to just stay outside, lean back. You can't hit him. Then he comes in and throws a right hand. Well, what happens if he actually is forced to fight in this fight? What happens if Audley has sparred with him enough where Audley decides, hey, I'm not going to chase you, come to me. Then when he comes inside, Audley does enough, maybe hurts him, right? Does enough to actually force Wilder to actually trade punches and box. I know Wilder won a bronze medal. Big deal. This is pro fighting, right? Does the guy know how to box? I think it's an open question. When I look at Wilder fights, I don't see Kubrat Pulev. Let me also point out, too, that, there's a big difference between Wilder and David Haye. David Haye likes to stay outside, too. But there seems to be a methodical strategy with David Haye, right? David Haye is an ambush fighter. He's feinting. He's going to come in with power shots, right? Haye has very quick hands. Haye is two-handed. Haye can actually throw a variety of punches, right? If you go back and look at the amateur films of David Haye's actually in there boxing guys like Audley Solis, master boxers, right? Deontay Wilder, to me, I've looked at amateur films of Wilder. I've looked at pro films of Wilder. Other than that big left hand, other than that big right hand, which is great, and that left hook that he can land on occasion, I'm not sure what else there is. So I'm going to stay on the sidelines. I know Wilder's a prohibitive favorite. Maybe he blows out Audley Harrison. But Harrison's exactly the kind of seasoned vet who's been in with people like David Haye. That tells me this fight could be complicated. I'm on the sidelines. And let me just say philosophically, there are 3 ways to defend yourself. Block the punch with your arms, which I like, right? In other words, I'm a guy who loved watching Roberto Duran, right? Guys who literally are fighting you, you throw on them, the guy's just blocking stuff, then he's coming back. To me, I immediately know I'm looking at a boxing master, right? Block the punch with your arms, avoid the punch with your legs, right? You can take a step back, take a step back, take a step to the side, or avoid the punch with your body. If you're gifted and you have, an upper body on a swivel, guy throws, you can lean to the side and slip punches that way and stuff like that. Roll with punches, slip punches. Okay, fair enough. I see Deontay Wilder using his legs a bit too much. He strikes me as the boxer who, quite frankly, as the pitcher who, quite frankly, has the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, right? Has a great straight right hand, but might not know how to pitch around it, right? And me personally, I prefer the pitchers like Greg Maddux, who actually know how to pitch. So even when they're having a off day fastball-wise, they actually have enough savvy to get by, right? I'm on the sidelines for Wilder Audley Harrison. I think Wilder, quite frankly, at these casino prices, is overpriced. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at gamblersadvisory.com. Thanks for watching.